Welcome to Haunted America, land of the free, home of the brave, and the paranormal. We're going to take a look at each state in America and I'm going to give you a paranormal tale from each of them. Sit back and enjoy. Starting off at Alabama. If you're a fan of the paranormal, then it is likely you've already heard of Sloth Furnaces in Birmingham, Alabama. There is so much activity here that the local police force is frequently called to deal with unexplained events. Sometimes they are relatively minor, but at other times they can include physical harm. The activity seems to peak during September and October, which leads many to suggest that reports are just Halloween hoaxes. However, others insist that the activity is very real and that the Sloth Furnaces is one of the most haunted places in Alabama. The most well-known ghost linked to Sloth Furnaces is James Slag Wormwood, a former foreman at the furnaces who died there in 1906 when he fell into a pool of molten iron ore. Ever since his fellow workers complained about seeing and feeling his presence. In 1926, a night watchman was actually injured when an unseen force pushed him from behind and a voice shouted at him, "Get back to work." In 1947, 3 supervisors were found knocked out on the boiler room floor. All 3 of them reported being approached by an angry man with horrific burns who demanded that they return to work. In 1971, another night watchman encountered what he describes as a half-man, half-demon who attempted to push him up the stairs. Samuel Blumenthal, the night watchman in question, refused to go upstairs, which prompted the entity to begin beating him. When Samuel was examined later, he was found to have severe burns where the blows had fallen. While James Slag Wormwood is the most prominent ghost at Sloth Furnaces, ruling the building with the same iron fist that he did in life, he is by no means the only ghost here. An estimated 47 men lost their lives and hundreds more were severely injured. The working conditions here were so horrific and Wormwood would not allow his workers breaks or time off. There is some debate about whether this slave-driving tyrant did actually slip and fall, or if the disgruntled workers, either living or dead, pushed him. The Red Onion Saloon in Skagway, Alaska. The Red Onion Saloon in Skagway was originally a brothel, but it has served as various different purposes over the years, including an army barracks, a bakery, a laundry, a union hall, a gift shop, and even a television studio. These days you can take a guided tour of the property with tour guides dressed as madams of the era. It is really like taking a step back into the height of the gold rush. The Red Onion Saloon had a unique way of doing business. The first floor was a bar area, and the upper floor had 10 rooms where the ladies could entertain their guests. Down in the bar there were 10 dolls, each representing the working girls. If the doll was laid flat on her back, it meant that the girl was occupied. If it was sitting upright, it meant she was available. In terms of paranormal activity, one of the most prominent ghosts that are said to call the Red Onion home is a female spirit known as Lydia. It is believed that Lydia was one of the employees that once worked at the brothel. Her footsteps are often felt on the second floor where the brothel used to operate, and visitors also report a strong scent of perfume and unusual cold spots. Lydia has also been seen as a full-body apparition, walking around in the Madame's room, sometimes running down the hall. Strangely enough, Lydia is also said to water the plants, and often the hostesses will come in and find the soil in the pots is damp. On occasion, Lydia is also said to behave very aggressively towards men. It is not known if she died at the brothel, or why she is destined to remain there. The Copper Queen Hotel, Arizona. The Copper Queen Hotel has built up quite a reputation over the years as one of the most haunted places in Arizona. This is largely thanks to the building making its appearance on some popular paranormal television shows. It is believed the hotel plays host to 3 Arizona ghosts, the first of which is an older gentleman, described as having long hair and a beard. He has been seen wearing a top hat and a cape, and staff and guests who have claimed to encounter him say that he's usually accompanied by the smell of cigar smoke. He generally makes an appearance on the 4th floor, standing in the doorway of the rooms up there. He has occasionally appeared just as a shadow in some of the rooms. The hotel also has a ghost of a little boy who calls the building home. He apparently drowned in the San Pedro River, but his spirit is attached to the Copper Queen Hotel because his parents once worked there, and it was a place that he felt at home. He has never been seen but is frequently heard. Guests say that the items in their room are moved and they hear a little boy giggling and childlike footsteps running in the halls. The third, and probably the most famous ghost at the Copper Queen Hotel, is the spirit of a one-time prostitute named Julia Little. She is believed to have used the hotel to visit with her clients, but she ended up falling in love with one of the men, and when he told her he no longer wanted to see her, she took her own life in the bathtub of her hotel room. The Allen House in Monticello, Arkansas. The Allen House in Monticello is apparently haunted by former owner Joe Allen, who built the property. He is not the only spirit that is clinging to the place that they once called home. In fact, the ghost that is spotted most often is actually that of his daughter, Liddell Allen, who is believed to have committed suicide in the property by drinking cyanide. After her death, Joe moved the rest of the family out the building, and it was converted into smaller, more affordable apartments. It was when this construction began that people first started to report seeing Liddell's ghost. A doctor who lived in the house at one time did not hold much stock in ghost stories and told people that rumours of the hauntings were nothing but silliness. However, he was forced to eat his own words after developing some photographs he had taken of the house and finding a very clear image of Liddell Allen in one of the mirrors. Alcatraz Prison, California. There are few structures in this world that are as infamous as Alcatraz. Prisons are often a haven for restless spirits, and Alcatraz is no different. In fact, this former high-security prison is probably even more likely to be haunted, given what the conditions were like when it was in operation, coupled with the dangerous criminals who were housed within its walls. The entire building is soaked in fear, regret, anger, pain, and death, the perfect recipe for restless souls and much darker entities. The prison is like a breeding ground for the paranormal. One of the most feared presences on the island is known simply as the Thing. This entity is said to have red glowing eyes, and it has been seen not only by visitors today but by prisoners and staff when Alcatraz was in operation. Other common reports detail disembodied voices, sobbing, screams, banging of cell doors, and putrid smells, which some say may indicate demonic presence. Visitors have experienced being touched, feeling cold spots, and even having emotional outbursts of either sadness or anger. Some have even said that they have encountered apparitions who spoke of them to the abusive hands of the guards and other inmates. Cripple Creek City, Colorado. The city of Cripple Creek in Colorado gives a whole new meaning to the term ghost town. It seems like there isn't a building in the city that isn't haunted. Let's take a brief look at one or two of the scarier buildings in Cripple Creek. The Hotel St. Nicholas was originally built in 1898 as a hospital for prospectors and their families. Over the years it was expanded and started caring for the mentally ill patients. It was closed down when the population started to dwindle as the gold rush came to an end. It has since been converted into a hotel, and room 11 in particular is extremely haunted. In fact, visiting paranormal fans often request this room when they stay at the hotel. One witness account from two women who checked into the room describes how they slept with the television on since they were so uncomfortable in the dark room. One of the ladies felt something sit on the end of her bed by her feet, but could not see anything. However, the following morning her friend says that she had awoken to see a shadow in that exact spot, but hadn't said anything as she thought it was just her eyes playing tricks on her. Another spooky hotel in Cripple Creek is the Palace Hotel, where a lady in a nightgown is often seen walking around the halls carrying another nightgown. Then there is the Imperial Hotel, which is said to be haunted by George Long, who used to run the hotel. He was apparently murdered by his disabled daughter in revenge for him keeping her locked in her room. She hit him with an iron skillet and he fell down the stairs to the basement, which is now the hotel's Red Rooster Bar. His presence is felt in the hotel, and security guards have reported hearing him play slot machines into the night. The Union Cemetery, Connecticut. The Union Cemetery contains graves which date back to the 1600s, but it's the unmarked graves which are causing the most stir. Inside one such unmarked grave is said to exist a young woman who passed away in her mid to late 20s during childbirth. She is the most told story of the cemetery and is known to be quite the prankster. She has been seen by hundreds of visitors, and she is the White Lady. She is described as having long dark hair and wearing what looks like a white nightgown and bonnet. The White Lady is usually sighted in the roadway along Route 59. People driving along the cemetery have reported seeing the White Lady along the edge of travelling through the graveyard. This includes cops who patrol the area. One such incident in 1993 involved an off-duty firefighter who, when travelling home, hit the supposed woman, leaving a large dent in the front of his car. When he got out of the car to check on her, there was nobody to be found. Multiple police calls have been made in the middle of the night, yet the police have come up empty-handed each time. Fort Delaware, Peace Patch Island, Delaware. Fort Delaware is now inactive, in that it no longer serves as a harbour defence facility. However, it is still certainly active in terms of paranormal activity. Peace Patch Island has been owned by the military since 1810, having been seized from a Dr. Gale who was using it as his private hunting ground. The French built the fort to protect Delaware from the Confederates and other enemies. In 1812, Captain Samuel Babcock oversaw the efforts to make the fortification stronger. Seawalls and dikes were built at strategic points around the island, and the construction of the Star Fort was started in 1817. However, due to various delays and damage suffered, it took much longer to complete than anticipated. The second version of the fort, which is the pentagonal one you see on the island today, was designed by Captain Delafield, and was built between 1848 and 1859, although it was not declared complete until 1868. Today, Fort Delaware is said to be one of the most haunted places in Delaware, and the dungeons are probably the most active spot in the structure. Prisoners would have been kept in the dungeon without beds or even water, and they slept on the floor amidst the vermin, so needless to say, death and disease were rife. There have been many people who have reported shadowy figures and full-bodied apparitions in the dungeon area, and it is not at all uncommon to hear disembodied voices echoing through the dark halls of the fort and sounds of the chains rattling. Florida. St. Augustine Lighthouse in Florida stands at the north end of Anastasia Island and is open to the public with all admission fees going to the Lighthouse Fund programs. It was originally built in 1824 and was privately owned by Dr. Alan Ballard before he sold it to the government in 1865. However, the state offered him far less than the true value, and when he refused, they threatened to simply take it by force. Ballard was outraged and vowed never to leave the lighthouse, and some believe this is exactly what he did. Ballard is often sighted around the property. Ballard certainly isn't the only lighthouse keeper that seems to have decided to stick around. There have also been reports of the spirit of Peter Rasmussen appearing around the lighthouse, usually accompanied by the smell of cigar smoke. Another lighthouse keeper, Joseph Andrew, is also said to haunt the lighthouse, and can be heard on the stairs. He passed away after falling from the tower while painting it. There are also reports that the daughter of another keeper, Hezekiah Paite, haunting the property. The 13 and 15-year-old girls drowned when the cart they were playing with was swept out to sea. With so many spirits seen in the lighthouse, it is no surprise that it is considered to be one of the most haunted places in Florida. Georgia. The Candler Hospital, Savannah, Georgia. The very first hospital in Georgia was the Candler Hospital, built in Savannah back in 1804. One of the most well-known ghost stories in Savannah relates to the giant Candler oak that sits on the property. It has also been known as the hanging tree, and many have reported seeing apparitions hanging by their necks from the branches. However, in terms of being one of the most haunted places in Georgia, well, that honour goes to not the hanging tree, but the old morgue tunnel that runs all the way from Candler Hospital to Forsyth Park. Back in the day, this tunnel would have been used to transport, store and discreetly dispose of bodies during the yellow fever epidemics. It is really no wonder that the tunnel is now believed to be haunted. Those brave enough to go down there have come back with a wide variety of creepy tales, including strange orbs of light and many different apparitions appearing all along the length of the tunnel. Well, that's the end of episode 1 of Haunted America. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you if you watched it until the end. And episode 2 will be uploaded on Saturday the 17th of November. Thanks again for watching. See you in the next one.